We fought wonderful odds, we run win. This is your friend James, Inspiration House Network. The United States of America will be celebrating the 4th of July. Let me, I really should write this down if I do a video. 2020. Mine is 1776, 244th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We want to talk to you about patriotism. There are two types of patriotism. They don't usually use these particular terms, but we actually have artificial and authentic. And the simple word for the authentic is true. So you have artificial patriotism and you have authentic patriotism, true patriotism. So we have artificial patriotism and true patriotism. Now they're both patriotism, but the article and from the adjective that describes what it is, let's know there's a difference. And they sound when you look at it, it looks like it's almost the same thing, but it's not. So let's start with artificial patriotism. Artificial patriotism, the source of artificial patriotism, where it actually comes out of, is propaganda. This propaganda is when you use your authority as someone who's a leader in a country, where you actually, it's like taking something and you start talking about, we use the fatherland, old Nazi Germany, where it's like, this is propaganda. It was like, we are one, you're doing, the source is coming out of propaganda. So, someone's like saying this, we are a group of people, we need to work together, we need to do this, you owe it to us, you should do this for the good of the land, you should do this, that, and the other, this is our great, wonderful country, we're doing, but it's coming out of propaganda. And of course, propaganda is something designed to get or elicit a response or reaction out of somebody. This is the motive behind it, is propaganda. So we're going to have this stuff. We're going to have solitary. It almost sounds like patriotism, doesn't it? We're going to lift up and build our country, and we have to work and do together, and we have a wonderful country, and we do this, and we come together. Join us or die. No, I'm kidding. Join us. It almost sounds like Hail Hitler, because it's like it comes out of propaganda. You're inundating the children with like, we're going to work together. We're working together. One society, one thought process, one this, one that. It's advertisement. One thing. Someone's typing this stuff out. The method is compulsion. Because we need to work together. You need to support. You need to do this for the country. You're compelling. This is the difference between God and Satan's concept of ruling. This is compulsion. God says, out of a willing heart in 2 Corinthians 8, chapter 8 and chapter 9, it talks about they were giving a gift, but they're supposed to give it out of their heart, not under compulsion. You're not supposed to force people to give. You need to give to the society. You need to give 75% of all your money to this society so we can provide for this, that, and the other, because we're one big universal group and we need to work together, and I need you to vote for me, and we need to do this and that and the other, and you have to do it. You have to sacrifice for the greater and wonderful good. It sounds, when you're analyzing it, it sounds suspect. But that's what it is. It's compulsion. You're compelling. You're forcing the people to do it through propaganda. So the method is compelling people. You need to stand up. You need to, stand up and join your country. You need to do this and then. Come on, it sounds horrible, but it's like, you need to do this, you need to join the military, you need to go into engineering, you need to look and see, you need to, contribute to society, you need to do this. This is all, I'm adding to this, because what is it? Which we'll get to the last point. I'm writing notes. Oh, the most important thing. Hey, I just added to this lesson. I just realized the main issue. Okay, but that's compulsion. result, what is the result? Is unconstrained tyranny. Because if you use propaganda to force people to give of themselves to the society, and they're, but who's behind it? It's unrestrained tyranny. Because you've already propaganda through messing with history or whatever, messing with education, you're telling them they owe it and they are required to give of themselves, join the military or whatever, and sacrifice and stuff like that. And then what do you have? Tyranny. And what do we have in countries that do that? You usually have a small group of people running masses and masses of people. Just one little group is overseeing. We know more than you. Well, that's pride, arrogance. That's really just a lie. But it insults the the intelligence of adults. We know more than you, so we're giving you these mandates, and it's really bad because you really have unconstrained tyranny. Because if you use propaganda for this fake patriotism, you get unrestrained tyranny. And of course, what I added to the thing was focus. What is the focus of this? Artificial. What is the focus of artificial patriotism? Society. Has nothing to do with the individual. We don't care if we don't care if you live or die. If you have to die for us to get this bridge built, I'm sorry, you're going to have to check out because I'm sitting at the top of this society. I mean, if you have to go without food because we need to shut down the economy, then I'm just sorry. Oh well, I need to shut down this town. And so I need to shut this town down because I'm going to do something, whatever. We're going to level this whole town. So if you have to go somewhere else and live, we just really don't care. This is what's behind socialistic, communistic thought process. You are not important. The focus is the society. It puts the society above you. It puts society above the individual. So little Johnny's dreams are useless because little Johnny has to give up his dreams for society because the dictator, the ruling class, the ruling party wants little Johnny to go into the military. So he can't be an artist. He can't be a musician or a composer that inspires. He just has to go ahead and be like a brick kiln worker because society does it. And little Johnny is propagated through propaganda that this is how it's supposed to be. That's why you don't need wicked people running education. What we have, the other thing is, we're gonna do another video on this. That is artificial patriotism. We're gonna go ahead and continue. We're not gonna do another video on this. Authentic, true patriotism is the next thing that we're. Authentic, true patriotism. Now we'll discuss this. What is authentic patriotism? Now listen, we saw the difference of artificial. Authentic, what is the source of authentic patriotism? It is hereditary. Authentic patriotism, the love of someone's country, is passed down from family to family. The mom puts out flags for, the holidays. The parents will do it. This is, the mom, National Independence Day for our, say America. The flags are out for Independence Day. The father, they go to the father wants the kids and they all get up and they all go to the Independence Day celebration. They sing God Bless America and stuff like that. But the source of authentic patriotism is hereditary. It's just like, it's different because we move down to the method it's passed as living examples. When a child stands up to say the the Pledge of Allegiance in school, is an example that you just do it. You're not using compulsion. You need to say this because we need you to love our society and worship our leaders. No. It's totally different. It's living example. Now this builds a bedrock in a society that's other people don't understand, especially if they're servants of kings and queens, limited monarchies where they have someone who's actually a king that they are actually servants of, that doesn't compute. Or if they're underneath a, artificial patriotism, they don't understand. If they've lived their whole lives underneath monarch and their whole centuries and centuries underneath monarchs, they won't understand authentic patriotism because it's passed on only by living example. You can't teach patriotism in schools. It has to actually pass by, it has to, like the Bible says, as each purposes in his heart. See, this is why, a lot of people don't understand American patriotism, especially wicked, evil people who, don't want to recognize and, honor the country anyway. But through a living example and through hereditary, through the family line, through just living example. That is the difference. It's just one of those things that, like, Paul talked about Timothy, the spirit of faith that was in his grandmother and his mother, it just got passed on. The spirit of faith is passed on. The spirit of freedom, the spirit of patriotism is passed on. It's not something that you just teach because it comes out of the inside. They want to give they want to sign up for the military. They want to support their country. They want to give to help build a bridge. They want to volunteer. There's a difference between a draft and signing up voluntarily. See, draft is compulsion. We don't care if you need to want to do something else in your life. You're going to sign up. We're forcing you to do it. Then you have people who sign up. Not talking about during actual wartime where you actually need to fight, but we're talking about there's a difference. See, there's the people like in the United States of America, they volunteer. Other countries, they're required to. We're not talking about a country that has to do it because they're right next door to some evil, wicked country. The result is responsible freedom. What is responsible freedom, my friends? Responsible freedom. Freedom is not you just do whatever you want to do and you just don't care about anybody else. That's foolishness. That's arrogance. That's pride. That's dumb. That's not what freedom is. Freedom has responsibility. A capitalistic society, where you allow the businesses, the country does not control the businesses, doesn't control the industry, but that industry has to act responsibly. So responsible freedom means you care for your neighbor and you don't go steal from your neighbor. You don't go kill your neighbor. You don't intrude upon your neighbor. You don't make your neighbor feel bad. You respect your neighbor. See, this is all stuff that you just can't teach in school because it's passed on, because children pick up their heritage of patriotism and freedom from their parents. And you can't teach your little kid, little Johnny, you can do whatever you want to and be whatever you want to do, and who cares what other people think, and they just need to be tolerant of you and let you do whatever you want to. That's selfishness. That doesn't work with real patriotism. You put that up next to real patriotism, little Johnny's just thinking about himself. Little Johnny wants to burn the American flag because little Johnny's mad, and some dummy says it's okay. I mean, no. Little Johnny's freedom is to respect the American flag because the American flag lets him live like a bigot for the rest of his life. And he doesn't get thrown in jail because he hates cat owners or whatever. And he's writing all these things about we should eat cats and stuff like that. Cats just, technically a cat's just meat, but he said we should eat cats and stuff like that, and people shouldn't have cats for pets, but they should be on the dinner plate. That sounds disgusting, but the American flag allows him the right to say that. But for responsible freedom, little Johnny needs to stop at his front door and not go outside and curse and make other people feel bad, and throw mud on people who have cats. The focus of authentic patriotism is individual responsibility. Now, this is the difference from society, which is artificial patriotism. The society is over everybody, is so important, and if the Führer wants you to do something, you should do it because you're working and you have to sacrifice yourself for this. This is not the same as individual responsibility. Because true patriotism creates individual responsibility. You care for your neighbor. You care for yourself. You do the things that steps toward helping society. Now, of course, wicked, evil politicians don't like authentic patriotism because that means that the people themselves have a right to disagree with you. And you can't have authentic patriotism if you're trying to rule and reign in your country, city, state, province. You can't do that. You can't have authentic patriotism because they have the right to walk away because through their responsibility they see, oh, you're trying to take all the money, you're trying to mess with all the kids, change history or whatever, trying to tell all the kids this is okay when it's not. You're trying to stamp out religion. But in artificial In the artificial realm, you know, in society, you can just do whatever you want to do. Because, you know, that's how it is. There's no individual responsibility because all the people are already brainwashed that whatever the leading class says, we just have to do it, you know, because they know better than us. They know more than us, and that's foolishness. That's evil. But that does not respect the individual. You know, the leading class, the artificial will allow people to stay poor. You know, they will. They'll keep the, you know, that's enough of that. That's enough talking about that. So that's it. Artificial patriotism versus authentic, true patriotism. Artificial, the source is propaganda. Someone in an office writing some stuff. Method is compulsion. They keep inundating you with it over and over and over. They don't care what you think. Result is unconstrained tyranny. The purpose of artificial freedom is so somebody else can run the show and you can be just an idiot sheep. That's the purpose of it. Don't be deceived. A lot of people talking about free this, free that, whatever, and stuff like that. Their purpose is to take over. And if they can convince you that you can smoke pot till you're oblivious to what's going on, and then they can come in and take your house, then that's what they're after. They want to get that. They want to give you your so-called freedom so they can take something else from you while you're smoking yourself into oblivion. The focus of artificial patriotism is society. It puts it over. You know, really, to tell you the truth, there's that group that can convince the people that if they can sacrifice, they can die for their country. And I've seen it in evil movies where they get it like, oh, you need to do this to sacrifice for the country. And you can tell because it sounds like patriotism, but it's not. It's like you need to sacrifice yourself for the country. That's not the same as them choosing of themselves. See, artificials, you're telling them they need to do it. They, of a willing heart, is real patriotism. Authentic patriotism, the source is hereditary, comes from parents, comes from uncles, aunts, grandparents. The method is a living example. The person sees it and desires to do it. It's not compulsion. The result is responsible freedom. You respect one another. And that's why, you know, people, responsible freedom that if necessary, you will take that person out of authority if they're trying to raise taxes and do stuff that they're not supposed to do, irresponsibly. And the focus, of course, is individual responsibility. This is why wicked people don't like authentic patriotism, because they don't want everybody doing what they want to do. Believe it or not, some politicians do not want you doing whatever you want to do. They want to run it, they want to run the show, and they like it. Jesus said some people like to lord it over them. They like running stuff. So there's the difference. They sound so close, but if you put them next to each other, you can see that they're not the same. There's artificial patriotism, then there's authentic patriotism, true patriotism. And happy Independence Day. Live, move, be.